In today's video, we're talking about the single most important thing that you have to do in medical training to make that shift from being a medical trainee to being a competent physician. Let's get into it. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Zach with Dr. Eyeball MD. If you're new to the channel, it's good to have you. I focus on everything about medicine, ophthalmology, oculoplastic surgery, all that cool stuff, life as a doctor. So go ahead, subscribe to the channel down below if you're not already. Also, if you are new, go ahead, check out my Instagram, Dr. Eyeball MD. We're almost at 10,000 followers, which would be really cool. I'd love to show you guys some of the cool stuff that I do, day in the lifestyle stuff. I show some cool surgery videos and techniques and that kind of thing. And we go live and do suture practice and all that kind of cool stuff on the Instagram. So go ahead, follow me, Dr. Eyeball MD on Instagram. So in this video, we have to talk about the most important thing, in my opinion, that you must master as a medical trainee to make that shift into becoming a doctor, a physician. It really is like a paradigm shift in who you are as a person. It really took me a while to kind of boil it down to this one specific thing. You know, a lot goes into it, a lot of base stuff like medical knowledge, just surgical experience if you're in a surgical field. So just getting the reps in surgically, that kind of thing. All that stuff makes it up. But there's this one key ingredient that they don't explicitly tell you that you must master, but I'm telling you now, you have to master this. If you're going to be a good physician, you have to do this thing. And the reason I want you guys to know this is because you can get through medical training in a lot of instances without doing this. And it's a big mistake not to. We'll talk about the repercussions of not nailing this one thing because they can be dire and they can make your life a lot harder later on down the line. So what is the one thing that you have to master if you're going to be a good, competent physician and be successful out in the real world as a doctor, as a medical practitioner? In my opinion, that thing is autonomous decision making. So to kind of explain what I mean by this, let me give an example. So in ophthalmology residency, which is what I did, you can go see a patient. You can do the medical student approach to kind of gathering information and then handing that off to the upper level or to your attending physician and letting them really distill it down for you and make the assessment and ultimately make the decision. And depending on your training setup, where you are and how much they push you to actually make decisions, some of them may not even do that. And you can get through an entire residency without really kind of accepting the responsibility of becoming the autonomous decision maker. When I say this, I don't mean that you just need to fly off the handle, go rogue, and not listen to your attendings or not listen to any of your teachers or staff when they're trying to teach you things. But what I mean by this is that you have to realize that you've been training for the better part of a quarter of a century to build up a base of knowledge and a way of thinking, a way of reasoning clinically to be able to make decisions. And that is your whole value as a doctor, is your ability and your willingness to make a decision and then act on it. And you can get through training, you can get through medical training, whether it be ophthalmology, a surgical field, a medical field, whatever it is, you can get through it without ever really being the last kind of line in the decision-making process or algorithm. This is something that you have to fight. So in residency, what I would do personally to try to get around this is I would just make myself make a decision and then I would act on it because I knew that I had the knowledge. I knew that I had the skill set in the exam to kind of assess a patient. And really what it comes down to is, you know, anybody can gather this information. Once you're good at the exam, once you know how to take a history, do an ophthalmologic exam, anybody can gather the information. Your whole value comes in your ability to take this massive amount of information and distill it down into something useful. And once you've done that, it becomes easy because you say it all points to this as a diagnosis, or at least a multitude of things as a potential differential diagnosis, and then it just becomes algorithmic, it becomes formulaic because you just then enact different protocols or testing to figure out which one of the diagnoses it is, and then it's, you know, you can look in any book or wills or wherever to figure out the treatment for that thing. But your whole ability and your whole value as a doctor, as a surgeon, as an ophthalmologist, any medical practitioner that you are, is your ability to take the information and distill it into something useful and to reason through it. So when I say that you must nail this thing, what I'm saying is you must be willing to be the one that distills that information and then be the one that acts on it and not just rely on an attending to tell you what to do, because it can make you mentally lazy and it takes away from you developing and growing and becoming a physician. When you go out and you graduate and you're on your own, you don't want that to be the first time that you're really the autonomous decision maker. Fortunately, I went into a program that's very autonomous and allows that, but you have to be cautious if you're not somewhere where they don't push you to be a decision maker. And you have to make sure that you just take the reins in that regard and become the primary decision maker. The downside to not doing this is that you're going to go out into practice and you're going to experience this for the first time when you really are forced to be the last line kind of decision maker in a medical sense. When you have to make the decisions, whether it be in the operating room or in the clinic, you don't want the first time you really have to lay your thoughts on the line and it matter to be when you're out in private practices and attending. You have to do that in training. So that is why you have to nail this. You have to become the autonomous decision maker while you're in training if you're going to become a good physician. And really, when you are able to make that switch and consciously decide that, yeah, my reasoning is good enough, my ability to do an exam, take the information, distill it, and then rely on the knowledge that I've built up, and then be willing to enact a treatment plan. When you become willing to rely on yourself and confident in yourself to do that, that's when you become a doctor. That is the key. That is the turning point. And until you can do that, you're not a physician. Even if you're a doctor, that's when you really become a physician, in my opinion. I just want you to be aware of this. I want you to be conscious of the fact that this is something that you can perfect and something that you can get better at, but you have to practice it. You have to be willing to do it. And it takes courage, it takes a lot of guts, and it takes bravery to do it, but you just have to do it. And then you become a different person. You become a real physician, and that's where your whole value, the whole beauty of being a doctor is the willingness to do that, the willingness to use all of this information that you know and the skill set. You got to be willing to apply it, and you got to be willing to have the confidence to rely on yourself to do it, and then you're a doctor, in my opinion. So guys, you can nail this, you can do it, you can practice it, you can get better at it. That is the one thing that you have to nail as a medical trainee to become a good physician, in my opinion. I hope you guys liked this video. I hope it was helpful. If you liked it, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.